The 2024 release horror mystery thriller film that is The Cuckoo, which is released in the year 2024, starts with the introduction of the character of the Hunter Schafer's, that is the Great Chain, and here we will refer to as Hunter Schafer's character. Hunter Schafer's character was just kind of still reeling from her mother's death, and she was very reluctant to move out with her father now. And Louis was this new Louis with his new wife, that was Beth. So, and her mute daughter was also present, that is the Alma, and they all were moving to the Bavarian Alps. The journey is a kind of very filled with a kind of tension that is just emphasizing the Hunter Schafer's character, that is alienation from her father because he is missing her, and kind of feeling very detailed because he is no more, and she is very emotionally distant, very hesitant to share something, and she feels really low at this point of time. And Beth's attempt to just bridge the gap that is present between them just feel kind of very insincere, excavating the kind of a fractured family dynamic that they share with each other and making even it more a complex of a thing. And her little sister, that is the Alma's, and Alma's mutiny just kind of adds to the very unsettling mood as she often kind of stares blankly or reacts strangely to her surrounding that is present. And the resort that was just built with a very brutalistic architecture, a kind of very unique architecture, kind of looms very ominously against the mountains backdrop, that is the mountain present in the background, and so it just refers metaphorically just imprisoning its residents that are present there. The Konings, which is another character that is present in the film, and Konings exaggerated kind of a pronunciation of her word, that is the Great Chain, that is the Hunter Schafer's character, just introduces film as a very kind of a controlling and has a very unsettling presence that we came to know right here. And now Louis' decision to work with Koenig, just despite the red lights and the airy aura that he has, and underscores is just kind of a neglectful parenting because you have to be very sure to whom he is working with. This setting paired with the kind of very haunting cinematography that is present throughout the movie, as we can see, and this just sets the tone for the very psychological horror and kind of a mystery supernatural thriller that is the Cuckoo 2024. And from the moment the Hunter Schafer's character steps into the resort, she feels a very kind of an oppressive weight that is surrounding her. Hallways are kind of very dimly lit and with long shadows stretching unnaturally across the floor, and it was just creating a very dreamlike uneasiness, as we can see that. And the Hunter Schafer's character now notices a very strange pattern on the walls and hears faint whispers at a night that are just kind of very faint, and which no one else just seems to acknowledge her, or no one just seems to agree to her on these terms of that she's hearing that faint noise at the night itself. And a locked room just catches her kind of attention, with Alma just oddly drawn to its door and heightening the sense of the mystery that is connected with it. And the Koenig's interaction with the family is just intrusive as he exerts control over their daily routine, trying to just take control over them. And at night, Hunter Schafer's character hears the scratching sounds and the distant cries. But the father character, that is the Louis, just dismisses her concerns as stress just induces a very kind of hallucination that are just kind of hallucination. I mean, the things which are not real, but we see them and consider them real. Now, Alma's behavior grows kind of very stranger, and she inhibits the uncanny reflexes and mimics the sound just perfectly, despite her muteness. So this is kind of very strange thing. And the Hunter Schafer's character now starts keeping a journal of her experiences, suspecting that the resort might hide a kind of a sinister secret that is just not noticed by everyone or anybody else. The Hunter Schafer's character now began to notice pattern in the strange occurrences, pushing her deeper into the resort's secrets. While riding her bike one evening, she encounters a very shimmering barrier that paralyzes her briefly for a very short period of time, and that was accompanied by a very piercing shriek. So this brings a very unsettling moment, and repeating the patterns in her dreams, echo events from the day she had, that creates a very surreal sense of deja vu. So this is a kind of a very delightful, not a very delightful moment, kind of very harsh moment for her. She discovers the hidden files in the Koenig's office, and that contains the sketches of a very humanoid figure, very similar kind of figures, and the symbol that just mark that just match the markings that we have seen recently that Alma was drawing. So this is a very strange discovery that goes hand on hand with the Alma's drawing. So this is just unsettling for her to see, and she's just thinking, now what is that? And now Koenig's cryptic comment about human evolution just leaves Hunter Schafer's character increasingly paranoid, and her connection to Alma just deepens as she notices the child's fear of specific areas of the resort, just like the library area and some other area, and the voice messages just left on her late mother's phone just kind of highlight the Hunter Schafer's emotional isolation and the need for closure that is needed for her right now. Despite the father's attempt, that is the Louis attempts to reassure her, uh, the Hunter Schafer's character begins the questioning whether her father knows more than her than he admits or not. So this is very strange situation because he's just doubting her father because he may know extra from her, kind of creating a very strange parallel between them. The films reveal very unsettling truths about Alma's existence and blurring the lines between what is to be true and what is to be false at this point. That is the science and the horror behind the film. And the Alma's skin exhibits strange luminescent pattern when exposed to the certain light, and a discovery that Hunter Schafer's character accidentally makes. So by mistake, eventually she found the fault right here, and the Koenigs try to manipulate Louis into believing that the Alma's condition is a very rare genetic disorder and masking his experiments to nature. So this is all bullshit. The experiment is performing, and the Hunter Schafer's characters now discovers the Koenig's secret lab, and here in that lab, he was doing this experiment, and they were filled with a very varied amount and varied kind of a humanoid embryos in a very glass tanks. Their features were disturbingly similar to Alma's, and now the Beth confronts Koenig demanding the answers because what is behind that need to be just learned among them. Just they need to get the answer out of this. But his calm demeanor just turns the threatening, warning her not to interfere in the process. And Alma's behavior became more erratic, including an incident where she destroys a family heirloom seemingly without just touching it. So this is very really dangerous. And now Koenig refers to Alma as the future, hinting at a role in the very evolutionary kind of experiment because this is the future according to him. Koenig is just so cunning and just so brilliant in execution, all this kind of weird shit. And Hunter Schafer's character decides to protect Alma at all costs because this is most important for her right now because she has lost her uh, beloved ones and she is not going to do again same with her Alma's sister, and even as she grows more fearful of what her sister might become. Henry, a very disgruntled guest, now becomes both ally and antagonist in the Hunter Schafer's fight against the Koenigs. And Henry's tragic backstory reveals that his wife died during one of the failed experiments that were performed by Koenigs, and fueling his vendetta or a kind of revenge that he needed to take upon him. He warns Hunter Schafer's character about the Koenig's manipulative tactics and shares evidence of the post atrocities that were committed at the retreat. So now the Henry's plan just was to expose the Koenig's alliance temporarily with the uh, her desire to save Alma and foregoing a very kind of uneasy alliance because they both can work for each other to have just one common motive, that is to get him down. Tensions rise when the Henry proposes killing Alma to end the Koenig's experiment because this was against going just the Hunter Schafer's character, forcing her to turn against him, and a confrontation in the dining hall just sees Henry attempt to abduct Alma and leading to a very kind of a violent altercation. And Beth was initially passive towards this but just steps in to defend Alma, and now showcasing her the maternal instinct that she should have. I mean, she should have done it earlier, taken proper care of him and care of her, but you know that step thing. So despite their strained relationship, the conflict leaves Hunter Schafer's character and Beth more unite, but it also isolates them from the Louis, that is the father character, who sides with Koenig. The film's climax unfolds in the resort's library, and where all the tension and mystery just come to head, and the Hunter Schafer's character discovers a hidden passageway in the library that lead to the Koenig's primary lab, that is the experimentation lab, that was filled with all kind of his various weird and not so natural creations. Alma's ability just manifests fully as she emits a very high-pitched shriek that disables the guards pursuing them, and Henry tries to confront Koenig in the lab and accusing him of playing God, leading a very chaotic shootout between both of them and destroy that much of the facility that is present there, and Hunter Shepherd's character faces the hooded creature haunting her dream. This hooded creature just always appear out of nowhere. I mean, in the accident also it was involved, and in the very starting of the film also it was involved. So that's very weird. That and it was ultimately overcoming it by leveraging the Alma's power, and Beth sacrifices herself to buy the time for both. That is the Shepherd's character and the Alma, redeeming herself in the Shepherd's eyes. And Alma, despite her fears, saves the shepherds from falling debris and solidifies their sister as a very kind of strong bond, because they are sisters at last. So you would just expect them to be having a very good and tight bond. The resort begins collapsing at the and both of them just escape into the forest, leaving Konig's fate ambiguous. And the film ends on a very chilling yet thought-provoking note, leaving viewers with very unanswered questions and just kind of a theories to work on. The both kind of hitch a ride with Ed, a guest presumed dead, but whose reappearance just raises more questions than answer. As they drive away, Elma's ear twitches unnaturally, signaling her connection to her alien origins just remain kind of active. The shimmering barrier appears in the distance, suggesting the supernatural forces are just far from gone, because they are not gone eventually. And Cephas reflects on her journey, her determination to protect Alma, evident despite her lingering fears. And the camera just pans now to the Alma's reflection in the car window, subtly distorted, hinting at her dual nature. The haunting score just crescents as the screen fades to black and leaves the audience in the state of a very uneasiness. And we think now what is the end and what may not be it, and theories related to it. The movie is just good. The movie is just as good as it keeps you hooked on it itself. The script, the writing was good, and you would expect it from a brilliant thriller like this Cuckoo, the 2024, that was directed by Tillman's Singers, and is really visually kind of arresting and psychologically unsettling horror. And this film just dives into the themes of grief, control, and just a blurred line between the humanity and the unknown that is present. Actually, the director's use of a very unique and interesting architecture, and yet the oppressive Bavarian Alps create a very haunting and very daunting kind of atmosphere. And the cinematography just emphasizes the contrast between the natural beauty and the kind of a horror suspenseful atmosphere, the eerie atmosphere that need to be built to create the impact on the viewer. So it was really great at this point. And Hunter Shepherd just delivers a very powerful portrayal of the great Jane's character. And she was a teenager. She was playing a teenager because she is eventually, I think, she's just 25 years old. So that's quite manageable. A teenager navigating grief and psychological torment, and the performance played by her really captures the character sense. And just we feel that she's one of us because she really gets into the character and the film's a real narrative. So she's just good at it. And the character of the Konix was also played very good, kind of a very manipulative and delusionist kind of ideology he was having. So that was really good. The film's soundscape is just highlighted with its kind of dissonant streaks and ambient noises, intensify the suspense that is well needed for a mystery thriller or the horror genre film that is a movie like Cuckoo. So this is really great and creates a very wide and kind of lasting impression on us as a viewer, and just tackles very complex themes such as the bodily anatomy, grief, and the ethics of the scientific experimentation. While its layered storyline can feel overwhelming, but just it invites the viewer to interpret all the events that are present in this film. And that was just great. Maybe I'm not great with the pacing of the movie, and it starts sometimes abruptly and it sometimes out of nowhere. So pacing maybe was the issue for this film majorly. And slow, I think the start was filled kind of slowly, but when it just build up to the tension part, and therefrom film was just kind of a smooth. So there were many of the underdeveloped secondary characters, I think, which were also should have been looked or given a more kind of a depth, so it would make a kind of a complete story. So it would define the movie again more correctly. So giving it a very great outlook, and so presenting it as a more complete film. And the film's refusal to just provide clear answers to its mysteries has been kind of a polarizing. And so Overall, the movie was good, and I think you should watch it. It's definitely one time watchable. If you like such breakdowns, do subscribe to our channel Cinema Shadows for more. Thank you for watching, and subscribe for more.